Hey everybody, April is Poetry Month, and so in the Media Center, or the IDC, we have a couple things that I just wanted to point out and let you know what kind of books we might have that would interest those who would like to read something in honor of Poetry Month. So first of all, if you like reading books in verse, some people don't really realize that that is technically poetry. So when you read the crossover earlier this year, that book was written in verse. So those are considered poetry. So this month, if you want to come look at some of our other great books in verse, we have this little infographic that has some ideas. You can get on Destiny and search for books in verse. We also do have poetry books, like good old poems, in the Media Center. I'm going to share one with you in a minute. This is one that I think is really cool. It's called Mirror, Mirror. And every poem in here is written in reverse. So it makes sense when you read it one way, and then it flips completely and still makes sense the opposite way. It's pretty cool. But today I'm going to read you one of my favorites from Shel Silverstein's Where the Sidewalk Ends. We have this and a couple other Shel Silverstein books here in the Media Center. But this one's called Sick. It says, "I cannot go to school today," said little Peggy Ann McKay. "I have the measles and the mumps, a gash, a rash, and purple bumps. My mouth is wet, my throat is dry, I'm going blind in my right eye. My tonsils are as big as rocks. I've counted 16 chicken pox. And there's one more, that's 17. And don't you think my face looks green? My leg is cut, my eyes are blue. It might be instamatic flu. I cough and sneeze and gasp and choke. I'm sure that my left leg is broke. My hip hurts when I move my chin. My belly button's caving in. My back is wrenched, my ankle's sprained, my appendix pains each time it rains. My nose is cold, my toes are numb, I have a sliver in my thumb. My neck is stiff, my voice is weak, I hardly whisper when I speak. My tongue is filling up my mouth, I think my hair is falling out. My elbow's bent, my spine ain't straight, my temperature is 108. My brain is shrunk, I cannot hear. There is a hole inside my ear. I have a hangnail, and my heart is, what? What's that? What's that you say? You say today is Saturday? Goodbye, I'm going out to play. So come down and check out some of our poetry books if you're interested. Also, the bulletin board, as you first walk in, on the door is a poem in your pocket. Later in the month is Poem in Your Pocket Day, so I'll make sure I remind you of that. But you're supposed to grab a little poem and carry it around in your pocket. So you can always grab one of those as you come in. And then up on the main bulletin board is Blackout Poetry. And I know in like Arrow might do that in art. I might work with Mr. Walton's class to do some blackout poetry. But if you're interested in blackout poetry, there's an example on the slide this morning. And then I have some blank book pages from old books that were damaged. So you can always come down and grab one, take it home. If you want to bring it back and share it, I'll put it up on the bulletin board. But I love blackout poetry. It's very cool. So you can always look at ideas for that online. And then also, while you have time today, I think you should all go back to good old, why don't you try doing like a concrete poem? So a concrete poem is when your poem creates the shape of whatever the poem's about. So you could draw or do a poem about dogs, and you could make your poem look like the dog. Or you could do an acrostic poem, which is when you write down your name or any word, and then you come up with a line that starts with each of those letters. So that's something for you to do this morning as part of Poetry Month.